Hi guys! So I just wanted to come on here and I figured I'd start something a little bit new on my channel. As you know, my channel's name is Nerd a la Mode. I am totally crazy for everything sci-fi, fantasy, board game, video game, TV show, book, everything like that. So I figured I'd go and I figured I would start doing unboxings on my channel. We play a lot of tabletop games. We have a significant collection at this point, but definitely not anywhere near what other people have. I am not a professional at this or anything like that. I just wanted to come in here and kind of share something that I'm interested in with you. So today we will be unboxing the Fury of Dracula board game. Obviously this is only the lid, but I have the game and we will be unboxing it. I am super excited. This is a Fantasy Flights game and they always put out absolutely stellar quality games that are really in-depth and have a lot of good thematic quality to them, and a lot of times it's a mixture of cooperative and versus. So I'm really excited to open this. I hope that you guys are too. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get into unboxing this. I've actually already taken out all of the pieces. We just played this. So everything has actually already been taken out and everything like that. And I actually now know what pretty much everything is. So that's really good. This is Fury of Dracula. It is a Fantasy Flights game. It is intended for 2 to 5 players. And it is basically 4 good guys: Mina, Seward, Lord Godalming, and Van Helsing, pitted against Dracula. So that's our board. It's actually quite a large board. We get the Fury of Dracula rules reference and the Fury of Dracula Learn to Play. This one is going to teach you how to set everything up, what all the tokens mean, what all the cards are, etc. This one is all of your rules, getting down really into the nitty-gritty, and on the back is a quick reference guide that not only tells you what the players' moves are, but also what Dracula special moves are and such. We also have a small map that Dracula uses to track his movement. Now that we've sort of played it once, I do wish that this map had some sort of little small markers, maybe with people's initials on it or something like that, so that Dracula didn't have to look at the map in case he wanted to engage the players. But just looks like that. I'll do some close-ups a little bit later. You get some bags in here. We wound up not using this large bag because we organize our stuff very heavily. So in here, these are clue tokens. Again, these little bags don't come with the game. We bought these from the dollar store. But these little tokens are little hearts that have a 1 on them. These are Holy Host and Consecrated Ground tokens. You have 5 on a heart. That's obviously 5 points of damage. These are Bats tokens. That's when you, as Dracula, play an escape as Bats or a Bats card, and then you can either transport another player or you escape from combat. These are Blocked Road and Blocked Railroad tokens. They are reversible, and Dracula can play these on the unsuspecting hunters. In here we put all of the player cards, including Dracula's, and all of the figurines. As you might be able to tell from this bag, 2 of our figurines were actually broken, but we're going to fix them tomorrow. We now have railroad tickets. The railroads in the game are white and yellow, so this allows you to move spaces on either white or yellow. railroads. These tokens are the Timekeeper, the kind of terror track-esque token that shows you how close Dracula is to winning the game, and the Despair tokens, which kind of demonstrate Dracula's creeping influence on the players. These are Storm tokens, they just have lightning on them. These are Fog tokens. Dracula can play Escape as Fog. If he does that, or if he plays a Fog encounter card, then the players are then delayed in the fog. These cards are, or these tokens are rumor tokens. If somebody has kind of seen a man in a top hat and a long cape and yada yada yada, they go and they place a token like this on the city that he was rumored to be in. These are bite tokens. If a character receives a bite, they could either A, die, B, be wounded, or C, I think they can turn into some sort of undead minion. Creepy. Then we have the cards. there are a lot of cards. So you have several different types of cards. You have, I'll go and I'll just separate them out. You have your item cards. These can either be weapons to use against Dracula, the ones in red, or normal cards like that you reveal throughout the game to combat Dracula's forces or minions or storms or whatnot. You also have event cards. They have two sides. This is Dracula's, that is the Hunter's. And with this, either bad things can happen, and those cards are given to Dracula, which he can then keep at his disposal to use whenever, or good things can happen, and the Hunters gain a little bit of information, or they can move freely, stuff like that. You also get encounter cards for Dracula. They do bad things. There's a reckless vampire, there's some wolves, there's a hoax. These are things that generally put the hunters at odds with Dracula, and they really kind of delay them or can even hurt them. They have action cards, so that means that these are just reference cards. They tell you everything that you can do in a turn, and they're super helpful, especially when you're learning the game. You have these cards. There's 3 different types. You have dodge, punch, and escape. The hunters use these in combat with Dracula, and it's the only way that you can really hurt Dracula, unless you have some sort of an item that can also hurt Dracula. These are power cards. They have different backs, and they are shuffled into the location deck so that if you're playing with a handicap, or kind of making the game a little bit different or more interesting, then you can make the game easier for Dracula if he's having a hard time, or you can make the game kind of more challenging for everybody, and I believe that you can kind of up the ante on the hunter side as well as on Dracula's side to kind of progress the game a little bit differently. Wrecking the joint. These are Dracula's combat cards. Look like this. There's things like Escape as Mist, Fangs, Mesmerize, Strength, Plotting, and these are what Dracula uses to fight against the hunters. You have one Castle Dracula card. This is where what you play when you go to Castle Dracula to heal. You also have several sea locations. If Dracula goes and travels by sea, he takes 2 damage, and obviously the players know that he is then traveled by sea, and he cannot play any sort of encounter or ambush card or anything like that. And then the rest of these cards are location cards. They are put in alphabetically as well as numerically, essentially just to kind of make it a little bit easier and quicker for Dracula to move through locations, and when a location matures, he can then quickly place the card back in without having to alphabetize it or go through the alphabet. It's just easily done numerically. So those are the cards. I can go and I can show you the tokens now. So hopefully this is a little bit closer. The rumor tokens look like this. They have a little guy in a top hat, kind of outlined with red smoke. The lightning tokens. These are the vampire teeth, or the bites. This is the fog token. This is the Timekeeper token. It has a kind of dusk side and a dawn side. I really like the art on this because it's not only color coded to help you, but it's also like cracked and it looks very worn. It's just aesthetically pleasing to me. This is what goes around the kind of like the victory track for Dracula and shows how far along in the game he is. These are your despair tokens. They get put over the sun, which is on the board, and they obviously form this kind of spooky face. The more despair tokens there are, the worse things are for the hunters. These, hopefully you'll be able to see them okay in the bag. I'm not going to take all of them out, but basically these are just the train tokens. They have a train on one side, they're randomized, and then you flip them over when you reserve a ticket, and they'll tell you how far you can go on the white line, how far you can go on the yellow line. Easy. These are the bat tokens. With these tokens, you put them underneath a hunter, and that hunter is then carried off to a nearby town. These are the wound markers, obviously a 1 and a 5. The 5 is bigger, the 1 is smaller. There's the size difference for comparison. These are obviously to keep track of how hurt you are. This is the Holy Host and Consecrated Ground tokens. This is a road block and a railroad block marker. These are all your figurines. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get too close to show you the figurines, but I will go and I'll take as good of pictures as I can of them once we get them fixed, and I'll put them right now. These are your cards. So there's Dr. John Seward, Mina Harker, Lord Godalming, Van Helsing, and of course, in the middle of all this chaos is Dracula. Now, for the board. The board is quite large. So this, obviously you can see this is just a section of the board. I'm just going to be showing you in sections, and I will post a picture of the whole setup right now. And obviously if you go and if you follow me on Snapchat and Instagram and everything like that, you'll definitely see lots and lots of short videos and posts on this. But basically over here is where Dracula keeps track of his hideouts and where he's traveling to and the encounters. And then up here is probably one of the most important features of the game. And this is not only the timekeeper, but also Dracula's victory track. So this is where those despair tokens that I was talking about, they go after every week. So you have the little clock token would go here on the yellow side for Monday, and then it flips over for dusk. In between day and night, there's dusk, and that's when the encounters with Dracula happen if you're in the same city as Dracula. And again, from Monday to Tuesday, dawn, encounters happen then, etc., etc., etc. So that's that feature. As you can see here, these are different types of cities. You have small cities and you have large cities. The difference is that in small cities, if you supply, then you only get an event, or you can only search, really. You get an event. If you're in a big city, then you can supply, which means that you can get one item and an event happens. This is obviously Castle Dracula. This is where Dracula goes to heal. And then the yellow are yellow railways. On the other side of the map, there's also white ones. And the red are roads. So for free action, at any point you can go and you can move on your turn during the day. If you're the hunter, you can move on cities that are adjacent by a road. Or if you pay a ticket, then you can move on a railroad. There's also water. So if you you can go from one landmass to another via waterways. You can go from one water place to another water place, like a water zone. stuff like that. I think that the art is very, very pretty on this, and while it feels very rustic, and it feels very, I guess, kind of old world, which is part of the reason that I like it. So thank you so much for doing this with me. It was so fun. I'm sorry that it wasn't a true necessarily unboxing because we had already taken it apart and played and stuff like that. But overall, so far, of my very first impression of this game is that I really, really like it. I played Dracula, so it was lots of fun for me. I really like it because I read Bram Stoker's Dracula so many times. It's one of my favorites. It's definitely a classic, and it's so cool to see these characters brought to life and to play as them or play against them. Dracula is super fun to play. I really like the fact that this game is definitely about finding Dracula, but also about killing Dracula and defeating Dracula. And Dracula has so much at his disposal, and it's really cool because he can go and he can influence people, and he can have you ambushed, and he can kind of put you on a wild goose chase and stuff like that, and kind of throw all of the investigators off the track and off his scent. And at the same time, he also has his own limitations. All of the players have their own limitations, so it's super fun. Again, it's very cooperative. If you have, 4 people who like to play a cooperative game, and maybe one person who always kind of likes to be the betrayer and always wants to kind of fiddle with things and mess with things and kind of get their hands dirty and be the bad guy. If there's one person that's like that, I definitely know one, but if there's a person like that that is in your life and they always want to play versus games, but you want to play a cooperative game, this is a perfect game for it. It also requires you to play multiple characters sometimes if there's only, a couple of you to play. Also, this is definitely a game that you can play with 2 people. It would mean that the person on the hunter side takes on 4 characters, but everything is so simple and laid out, and you can only do so much in each turn that it still goes quite quickly, and Dracula's turns are over in like a half a second. So it's just such a good game. I think that this game is just really, really good. It has a lot of storytelling to it, and if you're with the right group of people, then it can be very fun. Go and put on some spooky music in the background and kind of have at it. It would be an amazing game to play around Halloween, again, for that very thematic feel to it. I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to play it again. There will be several more playthroughs of the game, and I thank you guys so much for watching this. If you have any suggestions or tips or tricks or anything like that for unboxing videos, just please let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing from you guys. It means the world to me when you guys take the time to like it and share it and give me a comment and leave me a suggestion. It really does mean a lot. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!